and you want Mashiach, then talk about it, stir about it, wake the world up. Eis asher ikro eschem, with an aleph, is dependent, and that is the prerequisite to the Eis asher ikro eschem with a hey. So, right from the beginning of history, in my opinion, Yaakov Avinu teaches us that medav zach kochen in Moshiach. So I wander around the world, and these machen letzonos, and those criticize, and those are skeptical, etc., etc. And it's impossible not to be weakened a little bit, not to be influenced a little bit. Nobody likes to be laughed at. Nobody likes to be criticized. So what does one do who lives the Tachton Shebetachtonim in Australia? It's more than just a joke what I'm going to tell you. There was a story going around the world that a Russian Agoy and a Frenchman Agoy and Lahavdul Ayid came out from a clinic where there were specialists. And the three of them, Achmor al-Islam, the specialist told them they've only got 3 months to live. So as they walked out of the office of the specialist, they turned round to the Russian and say to him, "What are you going to do now, the last 3 months of your life?" And the Chagoy Ivan, he said, "I'm going to take all my money out of the bank, and I'm going to buy up all the vodka that there is in Russia, and I'm going to drink and bathe in it till I die." They turned around to the Frenchman and asked him, "What are you going to do?" So he said the same thing, "I'm going to take all my money out of the bank, and I'm going to live a life full of tigers." They both turned around Lahavdil to the Yid and they say to him, "Yankel, what are you going to do?" So he said, "I'm going to take out $4,000 from the bank and buy a round the world ticket, and I'm going to spend the next 3 months of my life seeking a second opinion." I came to Crown Heights to seek a second opinion. So somebody will ask me, "You're a Rav, you have colleagues, you have friends or yeshivas, Talmidei Chachamim, was bist du gekommen to the women to get a second opinion? Why didn't you go to them?" So I want to tell you, it's been mentioned a number of times that Bishvil Noshim Tzidkonius Nigalu Aviseinu Mitzrayim Hagemorim Soita. What do you think? The women in Mitzrayim, why were they tzidkonius? They said Tehillim all day. Why were they designated as tzidkonius? We know the Midrashim tell us that halal oivdei avodah zarah, Rachmana litzlan, halal oivdei avodah zarah, and that included the Noshim too. You know what made them tzidkonius? Because of the apathy. Some who didn't believe. They didn't have the ruchnius in them to believe that the Goel Tzedek, the Goel Rishon is coming and going to redeem them. There were people there who worked very hard. Avodas HaKodesh. They had Moses to look after. They had to do Afotza Samayomis in that time. They had to worry where to get money. They had to worry about what this Gewirr will say and what that community will say. And es hat nicht gepasst at that time. They didn't have the courage to accept the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. What did the Jewish women do? They came along into the slave camps and encouraged their husbands, their fathers. They encouraged them to believe that Mashiach is coming and coming now. I want to make one special nekuda. The Goyal Rishon was Moshe Rabbeinu. Have you ever wondered why it is that Kadosh Baruch Hu chose a man that the Torah designates, as he said in this week's Sedra, Va'ani Araus Fosayim? You think Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't talk? You think Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't give siches? You think Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't give an oration? He was a king, 40 years. He led in Kush. He was a great man with great talents. But you know what I think the Torah is telling us and what Moshe Rabbeinu says? V'ani aral fosayim. There are certain things which the Goyal HaRishon could not say. It had to come a Yisahusa del Tato. He couldn't come and tell the Jewish people what they should do. There had to come a movement from within to understand what is the demand of the hour. Eis asher yikro eschem, what should call you? And therefore, I have a tefillah that I want to make. It says there, Ve'arin Yi Eniviecha. I'm a great-grandson of Aaron HaKohen. And I'm entitled to speak the same as Aaron HaKohen spoke. And I want to make a tefillah. I want to make it to the Rebbetzin Chana. You want to hear what I say by all means. But I'm not saying it in order auszunehmen bei euch. I didn't come here to make an impression. The topic is too serious. The yearning is too great to chas v'sholom have pniyas of any sort. And I make a tefillah to Hashem Yisborach. He knows my feelings. He knows that I am a young man who's obsessed by the Holocaust. What we witnessed in our generation has been a motivating force in what I say and what I do, and I have no peace either day or night because of that. And I do not believe for one moment that whatever has happened since then has this much compensated the loss and the way the loss came about for the people of Israel. And I do not believe for one moment that the sum total of the reward and the outcome of that Holocaust is to be able to have the right to walk around on the beaches of Tel Aviv and not be called a dirty Jew. Not for that we suffered. And not for that did we lose 6 million Jews. And the Rebbetzin Chana must know that we, the last few, are still alive, who still have the stench of the gas chambers in their noses, the unsaid Shema Yisraels in their ears. They cry out to the Rebbetzin Chana, before we leave this world, we want to see Mashiach, because that's the only thing that can compensate us. And I conclude with what I began. The Medrash Sheikha tells us that at the time when these words were said, it was at the time of the Churban Beis Hamikdash, and Yirmiyahu Hanavi was running in the streets of Jerusalem, and he saw the destruction and the flow of blood, and a voice came down from heaven to Yirmiyahu Hanavi and said, Yirmiyahu, go to the Kvarim of the Avos and wake them up. Let them come and plead for the Jewish people before me. And Yirmiyahu Hanavi went to the Moras HaMachpelah, and he woke up. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They asked him, why are you waking us up from the grave? And the Medrash says Yirmiyahu Hanavi was frightened to tell them, in case they say to him, how did you allow such a thing to happen in your lifetime? And then the Medrash goes on to tell us that Avraham went up L'maylo, Yitzchak went up L'maylo, Yaakov went up L'maylo, etc., etc. And no satisfactory answer was given to them. In those moments of tragedy, Yirmiyahu Hanavi said, Koil be'Ramon Yishma. A voice was heard on high, a bitter lamenting and weeping. Do you know who was weeping? Rachel, the Neshama Klolis of Am Yisrael, the mother of the people of Israel, was weeping. She was crying over her children. Mevako al boneha. What should have been written after that? It's boneha is plural. Ki einam, for they are not there. Doesn't say that. It says ki einenu, for he is not there. Mother Rachel would not accept all the dramatic finger, all the valid excuses, all the arguments and all the critics that told us we shouldn't act in this way, we shouldn't talk in this way, we shouldn't force the issue. And wait. Mother Rachel, she had the heart of a mother, and she was not happy. And she would not be comforted. Why? Ki einenu, for he, Moshiach, had not yet come. And when Jewish mothers weep because Moshiach is not here, then a voice comes down from heaven and says, Mini koilech mibechi, don't weep anymore. Withhold your tears from your face, because if women get together and they cry to Hashem Yisborach, we want Mashiach now, then an answer will come from heaven. Yesh tikva lacharisech, there is hope for your future. V'shavu vonim ligvulam, and der Eibishter sagt zu, that generation, your children will return once again to Arzeinu HaKdosha, to the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi. I know that you are soon going to go over and say thank you, Rabbi Gutnick, for the inspiring words. But I want to tell you this. I want to thank you and the ladies that are here, because I know as it is Motzei Shabbos, Vochim Chodesh Shvat, that very soon, Mochar Yiyeh Ha'is Hazeh, very soon, he will come out Meheichal Kodshay and lead us and Klal Yisrael to Artzenu Hadosha. And I will join you from Melbourne. And I will carry a placard.
You don't have time to go to Melbourne.
So I'll make my placard here. And on it will be written, Bishvil Noshim Tzidkonies, Nigalu Hadeh Hazeh, Megolos Zeh. And in Sagrayim will be written on this placard that I will carry, Agudas Nishei Lois Chabad. And I will thank you for the privilege of being able to carry that placard in front of you.
Thank you, Rabbi Goodnick, for those inspiring words. May you very soon serve as Kohen in the Beit HaMikdash tonight. You can say it. I want to say again, I know I'm boring you, but as one of the other speakers said, I did not come to impress you. We are willing to give up the program at any second. We didn't really want a program tonight.
I'm sorry, this is not part of the program and it was not planned before, but I want all the ladies here to know that the Rebbe is being approached, and what is being approached now, to come down and join us and interrupt all the inspiring speakers. And I'm telling all of us that it is Eis Ratzon. It is an Eis Ratzon, and we have in these very important moments a chance, all of us, to unite together K'ish Echad Belev Echad in inner tefillah and bakasha, that the Rebbe Shlita, Hod Malchuto, Melech HaMashiach, will come down to us now, and we will not have to plan any other Malav Malkas and invite any more inspiring people, and everybody should do as much tshuva as possible that it can be done in 1 second. Thank you.
Yei shekene elome b'sha'ah achas, v'yei shekene elome b'dako achas, v'yei shekene elome b'shnio achas. Right in this room we have the most powerful, forgive me please rabbis, the most powerful people in the world. We the women. If you could do me a favor, and take all the energy that you have and put it inward and put everything that you ever thought before aside and every emotion that is negative that you ever had before aside, and do each and every one of us a personal favor and put all your energies inward and hope with your whole heart and soul that Rebbe Shlita should come down somehow, somewhere, in this unbelievable room, in this unbelievable place, at this unbelievable time. I feel that it could be. So please, please, do it for you, do it for us, and do it for Rebbe Shlita, please. I feel ridiculous. I will, in the meantime, called to the microphone. Rav Menachem Mendelchovsky, from the Shluchim Arzeinu Agdesha, Rav Kabolas Chabad der Chovot, Chover Beis Din, Vad Rabbonei Eretz Yisrael, Rav Mendelchovsky.
As I stand here, I remind myself, one of my teachers told me many times, Rebbetzin Chana, told me it's going to come a time with the men the Rebbe's been trying, but it's just not happening. He's going to depend on the women and the children. They're the ones, when it comes down to the bottom line, they're the ones that are going to get us to the grand finale. As I stand here, I realize the schus and the achrayus. We're just small people standing on the shoulders of all the generations in the past. What they went through, that we should be able to come to this day. We stand on their shoulders, and we're not going to let them down. We're going to go all the way, because that's exactly where we stand right now. When I came to the customs in the airport, you fill out a form. You're supposed to fill out what's the purpose of your trip. It says business or pleasure. So I checked both of them. So the fellow asked me, what's that supposed to mean? So I tell him, I'm in a 2,000-year business of bringing Mashiach. And I'm coming for the big pleasure when we see him come down tonight. This Kabolas HaMalchus reminds me of a story that they tell in Yerushalayim. There was a time in Yerushalayim where there wasn't any rain, months, not like today with the snow and the rain. There wasn't any rain. And the Goyim got together. What do? And one of the advisors of the mayor of the town says, the secret is by the Jews. If you tell them that within 3 days there's no rain, we're expelling you from Yerushalayim, then you'll see there'll be rain. And that's exactly what he did. Gave out a decree that within 3 days, if there's no rain, everyone's out, all the Jews out. Versteht sich. The first day there's a fast day, and everyone comes to shul, and the second day there's a fast day, but it's sunny. No clouds. Comes to the third day, And the Chacham of Yerushalayim, Rav Moshe Gelanti, calls the whole crowd together, Anoshim, Noshim B'taf, and he tells them, we're fasting, we're going to come to Shul to Mincha. I want everyone with raincoats, umbrellas, boots. After Mincha, we're going to the kever of Shimon HaTzadik. And we're going to bring rain. Everyone came to Shul, hundreds of people. Everyone's dressed for rain. Everyone davens Mincha, and then they leave towards the town, towards the gate. They come to the gate, and there's a goyish shomer, a guard. He sees hundreds of people walking with raincoats and umbrellas, and it's a sunny day. So he says, what's going on over here? So they tell him, our rabbi, our chacham told us there's going to be rain. So he says, I want to see this fellow. He comes over to him and he gives him a touch. And he says to him, it's not a known that you're Meshuggah, you want to make the whole place Meshuggah. He doesn't answer anything. They go out of town. They come to the kever of Shimon HaTzadik, and the Rov starts telling them which Pirkei Tehillim to say. They finish one Pedic, and there's a wind. They finish a second Pedic, there's a little bit of clouds. A third Pedic, it's overcast. A fourth Pedic, it starts raining, a drizzle, until finally it starts pouring rain, and there they are with their raincoats, with their umbrellas, with everything. They come back to town, and the goy sees what he did. He goes over to the Rov and he starts asking Mechila, versteht sich, he was moichelen on the condition that it'll always be good to the Jews. What happened? This is what it says every day in davening. Lo'olam lo'i nevoish ki v'cha v'tochen. B'cha botchu v'loi voishim. We will not be embarrassed and ashamed because of the faith and the trust that we have in Hashem. They went out in the line. They took umbrellas, raincoats, because they believed. That's the emes of bitochen. When it's a darge of la'olam le'nevosh ki v'cha v'tochen. This is what it says on Nachshon ben Aminadav when he jumped into the sea. What did we need it for? Because somebody had to do an act. It's bizyonis. What are you doing? Jumping into a lake, into a sea. Such faith. And the water goes up to his neck. That's la'olam lo'nevosh ki v'cha v'tochen. And that's what it says. That when it came to the Shina, it says that the women had tupim, musical instruments. Frexit the Shaila, the question's asked, where did they all of a sudden have musical instruments from? The men didn't have it. The answer is, there was one Nachshon. But the women, when they heard that Moshe Rabbeinu said, Dabel b'nei Yisrael v'Yisrael, they took out the musical instruments. They were ready with their raincoats and with the umbrellas. They made a sunnah for a Kabolas HaMalchus for Mashiach. Because Baruch HaGever, Asher Yiftach B'Hashem, V'hoya Hashem Yiftacha. How much we believe and how much we put ourselves on the line. That's V'hoya Hashem Yiftacha. That's what's going to bring it. When we show that we're going out on the line, that we're going all the way, that we really mean it. That we show that we really mean it. That we fly from one end of the world to the other. Because we want Mashiach and we want him now. You know, when I was in Toronto about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, I was visiting a fellow's house, not too frum, and I showed him the Rebbe's talks with the Yalkut Shimoini, with the Gulf War, And we were sitting and talking, and all of a sudden he picks himself up. And he says to me, you mean he's really coming? You know, I don't have mezuzahs on my house. I need mezuzahs, I gotta prepare my house for him. And I was sitting over there and I was floored. I said, I'm talking about this sikha the whole time. And this fellow, I just told him for about 2 minutes, and he moved. He put 26 mezuzahs on his house within 2 days. And it didn't cost pennies. It was quite expensive. But you know what happened? Now when I visit him again, I come into him and he tells me, you know, Rabbi, I started to learn also. So I say to him, yeah? Where are you learning? He tells me a place where, you know, like Rabbi Gutnick mentioned before, not one of the places that I was really so thrilled. And he tells me, you know, Rabbi, I told them about the Yalkut Shemoini and how Mashiach is coming. And they told me, take it easy. You might get disappointed. Just take it easy. So, I went home and I opened up my Rambam to the 13 principles of faith, the Yud Gimel Ikyu. And I started to look, where's the 14th one? That everything that I wrote till now is as long as you keep it to a limit that you don't get disappointed. And then I realized there is no 14th principle. Because the Rambam writes, Ani maimin be'emunah shlema. Shlema. A complete emunah. Not a parva emunah. A 50-50 emunah. An emunah 100%. The Rebbe is mechanechas. We're not worried about disappointments. Because we know that emunah, true emunah, means all the way. That's the emes of bitochen. You frag a shayla. B'chlal bitochen. You tell a person when he has a tzorah, he needs a refuah. You tell him, God will help. Don't give up. Maybe he's going to get disappointed. Where's the worry about the disappointment? We say bitochen is that everything is going to work out b'toiv v'nira v'nigla, to its best. There is no 14th principle. There is no worry about disappointment. Because we're maimin b'emunah shlema. Frag the Rebbe. The Rebbe asks us in a sikha. He says, on one hand, you tell a fellow, have bitochen all the way till the end. On the other hand, you tell him that there's such a thing like gamzu l'toiva and kol man dovid lachmona l'tav ovid. Things happen that's toiv that we don't understand. How can you ask from a person to have both things? To have emunah and bitochen till the end? That everything is going to work out? It doesn't say in the Gemara when the sword is on your throat, believe that it's gamzu l'toiva. It says don't give up. Don't give up. So the Rebbe asks, but how can you ask a person to know that there's things that are gamzu l'toiva and nevertheless tell him that he has to have bitochen b'toiva nirvana? And the Rebbe gives one of his explanations that every yid has a neshama. A neshama is a chelik elakah mimal, a part of Hashem. And just like Hashem can put opposites together, He can ask from us and He gives us the koyach that we have emunah shlema, a bitochen till busha, and we're not worried and we're not caring about disappointment because we know that we have the strength to carry on, and we know that this is what is actually going to bring the bitochen till the end, the lishuascha kivinu kol hayoim, but till a point where we go out on the line. That's what we know is going to bring it. The Rebbe, in his first mimer, told us, he launched it, and he said that all the tzaddikim till now have been bringing down the Shekhinah. But our job is to bring it down to earth. Everything by the Rebbe comes down to earth. The Emunah in Mashiach is tangible. You can touch it. You can feel it. It's down to earth. Torah, mitzvahs, Emunah, Neshama, all in Yonam Elikus, the Rebbe brings down to earth. Because that's the tafkid. The tafkid of Mashiach is to bring Elikus begolui. V'niglik void Hashem, v'rol kol basar yachtov. That the basar should see the Elikus. To bring everything down to earth. And Baruch Hashem, that we have a shaykhus, that we're seeing it all happen in front of us, to bring you down to earth. You know, there are those that tell to me, this whole business is just above me. They tell me it's above me, I'm just going to sit back and wait, I don't want to get involved, it's just too much. I'll lead a normal life, and we'll carry on. And I tell them, there's a story. The Frierdiker Rebbe in Russia, there was a time when he took 10 chassidim and he made a covenant, an oath. They're going all the way till the last drop of blood, because we need total mysterious nefesh. 10 chassidim together with the Frierdiker Rebbe. When they walked out of the room, they were scared, frightened, because of the awesomeness of what the Rebbe just did. And they went over to the Rebbe's secretary. And they told him, we're scared. We're frightened. They told him, Rebbe Chacher Feig, go into the Rebbe, tell him, what should we do? What does it mean? He walks into the Rebbe. He tells the Rebbe that they're scared, they're frightened, everyone. And the Rebbe tells him, I don't understand. If there's no fear in the heart, how is there fear in the rest of the body? If there's no fear, if there's no scaredness in the mind, how is all the hands and the feet fearing? The Rebbe told somebody, by dollars, about a year ago it was, came over to him, and the Rebbe told him, Mizokt, that I'm crazy about Mashiach. This was what the Rebbe said. And ever since then, when people come over to us and they tell me, you people are crazy, I say, thanks for the compliment. Because if the Rebbe doesn't stop day and night, everything that he talks about and everything that he breathes is Mashiach, then all our limbs and our hands and our bodies and everyone has to be running around with one-track minds. How do we bring him down here? How do we bring Mashiach? That's what has to be done. That's what's important. But how do we get to that point? So the Rebbe tells us that also. He says you want to walk out of your normal, the regular run every day. Start learning about it. If you want to love Hashem, you want to love your fellow Jew, you want to have simcha, you got to learn. You got to think about it. So if you want to really feel about Mashiach, if you want to start living with him, you got to learn about it. You got to bring from your faith into your learning, into your heart, and then it'll come out in action. We have to prepare our homes. We have to be Mekabel Mashiach in our homes also. Do you know that there's homes in Eretz Yisrael that the children have their Shabbos clothes ready next to their beds? Because they're waiting any minute now that the Rebbe's in Gala and will go to Eretz Yisrael? And every day by the Sudas in the houses, there are people that are telling Werther over about Mashiach and Geula. There's enough books today. And stock is lining up and people are giving it in their homes. And they're worrying that there should be pushkas where the Rebbe said, and that there should be swarm the way it should be. They're preparing their homes. They're taking out the things that aren't supposed to be there too. But we also have to go out on the mitzvah Mashiach to the world. We have to get the world prepared too. The world is ready. But we have to get them even better ready. Once there was this year, after Shavuos, we went to visit The Rabbanei Chabad of Eretz Yisrael, every year after Shavuos, we come to visit the Rabbanim Aroshim, the chief rabbis of Israel. We went to visit them to give over the sichos from the Rebbe, talk. And we brought them the Dvar Malchus, the Rebbe's sichos about Mashiach and Geulah. We had 2 pamphlets with about 5-6 sichos in each one. And we put it on the table. And Rav Eliyahu, the Rishon LeZion, takes a look at it and he tells me, he asks us, when does the Rebbe have time to write all these things and to put them out? So one of the Rabbanim says to him, you know, like Moshe Rabbeinu was a manig, and he had to learn, and he was writing Sifrei Torah, and he had to run Klal Yisrael. So Eliyahu says, how can you compare? Moshe Rabbeinu was a manig, was a leader in a desert with a couple of million people. The Rebbe Zol Gesundheit is the manig of the ganze Welt, the whole world. So you think, no, Rav Eliyahu sees it. 2 weeks ago I had to be in an emergency ward in the middle of the night in Rehovot. I'm sitting over there saying, Rebbeinu Shalom, Vos two of the, why do they have to be here? And I brought in a couple of sichos in the Rebbe and I was looking at them and all of a sudden a Yid walks in. Elder Yid, board and pays, beard and pays, walks in and he says to me, oh, he says, you know, I want to tell you something. He says, I was going on a bus, and a young fellow, a non-religious fellow, sits down next to me and he tells me, are you a chabadnik? So I said to him back, who's not a chabadnik today? And then he points to the sichos and he tells to me, mit azolche sichos, with such manhigis and leadership, who can't be a chosid chabad today, he says to me. I say to myself, Rebbeinu Shalom, I see how the world is even more ready than we are. Do you know why? By us, it's not a chiddush. We knew all this was going to happen. The Rebbe's been telling us all the time. So it's not such a big, it's not so new. We were told when we used to come to the Fabrengens and the Rebbe used to finish off the Fabrengens with Niet Niet Nikavo, that he's chipping away at the Iron Curtain every time he sings that nigun. We knew it was going to happen. But the world didn't know what was going to happen. They were living with a different reality. And by then, that everything has fallen apart. It's poof. So when you come to them and you tell them, you know, this is times, Mashiach is here. It's Geulah. They're ready to hear much faster than you really think. You just got to go out and do it. People say, how? What? There was once a chassid in the times of the Rebbe Marash that he got all stirred up to start serving Hashem seriously. And he went into the Rebbe Marash and he says, how do I start? The Rebbe Marash says, how do you start? Iver gegeben cut. Give yourself over. Leg sich weg auf a Seite. Your own things put away on the side. If you give yourself over, you'll find ways. The same thing. To prepare the world to go out, to speak. Always be ready with something to tell them. We must get the world ready too. As long as we're in this, we're going all the way. I was speaking to Ayid, and I told him that they once asked the Alter Rebbe, who's greater, Moshe Rabbeinu or Mashiach Tzidkeinu? And the Alter Rebbe said, Mashiach. He says, you know why? Moshe is a doctor without experience. Mashiach is a doctor with a lot of experience. So the question that's asked, what is that supposed to mean? He says, some of them give the explanation that it says about Mashiach that he has the Maila, that Moirech Vadoim, that he'll just give a smell, a look, and already know. A doctor that's inexperienced, you go in, he asks you 20 questions, he's got to call another doctor, he's not sure what to give to you. But a doctor that's experienced, you just walk in, and he already has an answer. He just looks at you. He was telling the Yid. He tells me, you know what? That's what goes on every Sunday by dollars. As I say, Rebbeinu Shalom. We just have to go out and speak about Mashiach and Geulah. And that's what prepares the world, that they bring in Mekabel Pnei Mashiach Tzidkeinu. Nine months ago, like it was mentioned before, the Rebbe gave it to us in our hands, and he says, start doing it. They tell a Maisa that once there was a chassid of Rebbetzin Chana that he didn't pay rent for many, many months to his goyish balabos. And his goyish balabos called him and he asked, come to me, I'd like to speak to you about the rent. So he went to his Rebbe and he said, Rebbe, what am I going to do? So the Rebbe tells him, you know what, I'll give you a note. I'll give you a letter to the poets. And he gives him a letter. He gives him a note. Puts it into an envelope and he gives it to him, and the chassid walks out. And as he walks out, he starts walking towards the poets, and he starts thinking, maybe I should see what's in the note, because when I come to the poets, I should know exactly what's going on to be able to add on. So he opens up the note, and he sees that the note is empty. He gets, oh, the note is empty. I'm going to go now to the poets with an empty note. What's going to happen? So he turns around and he starts going home. I can't go with an empty note. And then while he's going home, he says, you know, the Rebbe gave me the note. He wouldn't have fixed me in such a way. Where's my emunah? And he turns around and he goes to the poets. When he comes to the poets, he walks in and he gives the note to the poets, and the poets takes out the note and he starts reading it. And he's reading and reading and reading. And he sees he's reading. And after he reads, he says, you know what? You don't have to pay me any of the debt that you owe me. The fellow runs out of the house straight to Rebbetzin Chana to tell him, Rebbe, the note helped. He says, yeah. What happens? He says, I don't have to pay the debt, he said. He says, that's what he said? He says, tell me, what happened when you left my house till you got to the ports? He says, what do you mean? What happened? Tell me. Heckt on Ecken and Becken until finally he says it. He says, oh, jetzt verstehe ich. Because he was supposed to give you the hotel as a present. But we have to realize that when the Rebbe gives us the task, and we're here tonight because we realize it, but we have to realize it more and more, that we have the koiches and we can bring it to be Mekabel Pnei Mashiach Tzidkeinu. I just want to conclude. By Kabolas HaMalchus, we know that all the Rebbeim come to a Kabolas HaMalchus. From the Alter Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe Marash, and the Rebbe Rashab, and the Friedrich Rebbe, and the Rebbe soll gesund sein bereushen. They all come to a Kabolas HaMalchus. We're here. We're with our raincoats. We're with our umbrellas. The whole world is listening. We're all here. The Rebbe said that Mashiach stands on the roof of the Beis HaMikdash, and he says, Higi zman gulaschem, that the Gula, the time of redemption, has come. And the Rebbe says in the Sikha, he says, it can't mean that he's standing literally on the Beis HaMikdash, because then he doesn't have to announce that the time of redemption has come, because then you'll see the Beis HaMikdash. So what does it mean? He says he stands on the roof of the Beis Migdash Ma'at, Beis Rabbeinu Shebebovel. He stands on the roof and he announces, Higi zman gulaschem. We turn to the Rebbeinu Shalom and we beg. and we're mischanan. We don't even have any words what to say. How much? When we say the Boy Shalom, we want the Rebbe off the roof. We want him to take us out now. The Korev Mamish now.
Yasher Keach Horad Gluchowski, more than anything at all, I sat and wished that I would not again have to stand at this microphone tonight. But since I am, and we are still willing to stop the program, I would like to call to the microphone Rav Shlomo Majeski, the Mashpia of Machon Chana.
A few weeks ago by Fabrengen, the Rebbe spoke about what it says in the Gemara as Bikish HaKadosh Baruch Hu last says Cheskio Mashiach Sancherev Gog Magog. Eibishter wanted to make Cheskio Mashiach and Gog Magog would be Sancherev, and the reason why it didn't happen was because that he did not say Shira and praise the Eibishter for the nisim that he performed. The victory over Sancherev and the fact that he became well from his illness. And the Rebbe then said that now there are a lot of nisim that are taking place, and being that now is the time of Bias HaMashiach, one of the most important things are that we should be aware of the nisim, and we should remember to say Shira to thank the Eibishter for the nisim that are happening. And the Rebbe said that we're not paying enough attention to the nisim. I gave an example of what happened in the kesher to the Nigna of Aderes V'Amuna, how it affected France. A week after this Sikha, something happened which is almost identical to what happened with France, but in a way even stronger. The Kremlin, which is a place where there hasn't been too much Jewish activity going on there in the past few years. In fact, that was the mocker for all the most vicious and ugly anti-Semitism of the generation. And in this Kremlin, on the first day of Hanukkah, there was a Hanukkah rally with 10,000 people. The Rebbe Zogazun Zayin spoke in the Kremlin through satellite. There were goyim outside marching and protesting with signs that said they want to make the Kremlin into a synagogue. A week later, 8 days later, on the 8th day of Hanukkah, the Kremlin became absolutely nothing. Became a non-existent entity. It became nothing. The Soviet Union became a non-existent entity. Mamish like the Nes of the Aderes V'Amuna. We look back, we see now that there are so many nisim going on, and they're so apparent to the point that everyone remembers one of the major magazines of the United States in the front cover had the words, "A year of miracles." People are saying that they constantly hear now a new language in the media. They're using the word miracle a little bit more often. Just 2 days ago, someone showed me in the New York Times, it's talking about the snow in Yerushalayim. It doesn't say it was snowing. It says, the latest miracle, Yerushalayim is covered with snow. Which means it goes without saying that there are miracles now. The only information they're giving is what's the latest miracle. and this is not in a Sikha, Lahavdil, this is in the New York Times. The question is, what is this inyan of Shira for the miracles? The Rebbe said, as we know, that the Rebbe, for the last years, has been storming about the inyan of Beis Mashiach, and every month, and every week, and every Sikh, every Fabrengen, this is intensified. And a new word, a new expression, even more than what was said before. And the Rebbe already said that Kol HaKitzin, Yidden collectively already roy for Bias HaMashiach. We did all the tshuva, we went through enough, everything is already done. And if we're at that point, why is it so important that unless we acknowledge these nisim, somehow it can't happen, it seems?
You just said you're not going to get it.
This is l'cheira connected to this inyan of the Kabolas HaMalchus that we're making tonight, which is based on the Rebbe's Avuzunzein's words, where the Rebbe said that everything is here already, the Geula is here, Mashiach is here. The Rebbe used the term Hashem Beis Galus, he's already revealed. And he said all we have to do is to be Makabel Pnei Mashiach. And that's when he spoke about Kiddush Levana. What does it mean we have to be Makabel? Does it just mean that we have to show that we really want him? I think that's been going on all the years. We've been shouting and screaming, we want Mashiach now. What could be more than that? The last few weeks, there's a new Lashon that Rebbe's been using, and again, that everything is ready, and the Tish Hashem Greit, Levyos and Shirabar, and Yain HaMeshuma, and the Rebbe says, all we have to do is open our eyes and see. What does that mean, practically speaking? I mean, does it mean that it's already here, and we just have to see it? We know that what we see going on in the world today, this is not the Geula that we're waiting for. On the other end, is there something that we're not seeing, that we're not informed, we're not noticing, something that's going on? That happened in the Eigen. And the Cherif and the Rebbe Sichs, it seems, when a person sees, there are two things. Number one is the physical experience of vision. Humans and Lahavdil animals have. Even in a camera, there's the physical aspect of vision. The second thing is that when you see something, your brain interprets it and explains it, and you understand what you see. When we use the term to open our eyes, it can mean both things. One way means open our eyes literally to see something which you hadn't seen before. If you would say that Eliyahu Navi is in the room when there's a bris and you don't see him because our eyes have to be open to see something which is there and we can't see it. But there's also another explanation, and that is when you see something which you saw all the time, but now you see it differently, you understand it differently, completely from a different perspective, that is also the same concept. In Yiddish, we use that expression. In English, people say, Et mergaf in the Eden. In English, there's a word, an eye-opener. It doesn't mean that the eyes was literally open. It means I see it from a new perspective. I didn't see it this way before. What's going on in the world today, people use all sorts of words to describe what's going on. What's going on in the Soviet Union, for example. If someone would say, Soviet Union or America and other countries, that the world is going through a major political upheaval. It's a very powerful way of describing it. And the Rebbe is telling us, no, that's not the way to look at it. We have to look at what's going on, that this is not something happening in the world, or something unusual happening in the world. But what's going on now is part of the process of the Geula Amitis Vashleima. What's happening is leading up to Geula. It's the unfolding of the Geula Amitis Vashleima. What's happening in the Soviet Union is actually a fulfillment of the Nevuah, where it says that when Mashiach will come, the Malchus HaRasha, those Malchus will become destroyed. When Mashiach will come, when there'll be the Geula, and that's happening now. This is that time. So in other words, when a person looks at what's going on, you can see it three ways. An ordinary person looks at it from the outside, and it gives political explanations to what's going on. The second way is where you say, no, it's not an ordinary event. It's a nes, it's a miracle. And I think what the Rebbe is telling us in the Sikha, is even to go beyond that. It's not an ordinary miracle. What we're seeing is the actualizing and the fulfillment of the nevuahs connected to Geula. This is the process of Geula actually taking place. In other words, what it says in different places is not just that the sign is now that this is that time. But this is it. What we see happening is a fulfillment of what it says. During the 6-day war, everyone knows there's a tremendous is'eirus by Yidden all over the world to tshuva. So the Rebbe said that this is what it says: V'hoya b'yemahu yitaka b'shefa gadol u'ba'o eidim b'eretz Ashur v'nidochem b'eretz Mitzrayim. In other words, it says in the nevuah, there'll come a time the Eibishter will blow this big shofar that will wake up Yidden from all over the world. And the Rebbe said that 6-day war, that was the shofar. That was the fulfillment of that inyan. In other words, it's actually happening now, and that's what we're experiencing now. When you see hundreds and thousands of Yidden going to Eretz Yisrael, at a time where the problem number one in Eretz Yisrael was there are not enough people. Suddenly there are hundreds and thousands of people going to Eretz Yisrael, and the biggest problem is, where do we put all these people? This is not just a change. It's not just a ness. We have to change our perspective and look at it. This is the inyan HaGeula leading up to the inyan of Geula. This is the unfolding of the inyan of Bias Mashiach. The Persian Gulf War was incredible miracles, as the Rebbe said. As everyone saw later what was written up about the war and how much was not even told yet. And again the Rebbe said, this is a fulfillment of a nevuah of Yalkut Shemaini. And what we see now happening in Russia, the same. So this is the inyan of Geula. And this is what's leading up to, why doesn't it happen in the complete way? After all, there's still so many things going on, which we know that's not Geula yet. And the answer is, the reason why the Geula aspect of all these events is not taking on its full identity, the Rebbe is giving us the reason and telling us, is because we're not identifying it that way. If we will see that what is going on now is in Yanim of Geula, not Stamenes, and will identify it that way, then the events will take on a new identity openly, and all the Yanim of Geula will come out 100%. It's a very basic principle in Torah, and it's talked about a lot in Chassidus. It says, Gam ha'olam sa'olam nosam b'liber, that the world depends on the heart, on our heart. That the way we do things, the way we act, that has an effect on what goes on in the whole world. And it's explained in Chassidus, the way we see something, our perspective, that has an effect on what's going on in the world. As the example is given within of Lashon Hara, that if you look at a person, if you look at your child, one looks at their spouse, and sees in them negative things, and that's how they begin to identify them as a negative person, then they're seeing it that way, it says in Chassidus, actually causes that negativity to surface, and that becomes their identity. If you look at a Yid and you see the good in him, you look at your child or your spouse and you see the good, the qualities, and that's how you identify them, then that will become their identity. That surfaces, and that's the identity that they take on. And that's what the Rebbe has been doing for the last 42 years. By every Farbrengen, the Rebbe talks about the Nefesh Elokis, the Pintel Yid, how every Yid has an unconditional love for the Eibishter, for Torah mitzvahs, and every Yid be'etzem is pure and good, and he talks about it. He trained us to look at a Yid that way, and that became the identity of Yidden, and that's why we find this massive tnu of tshuva on a global level, that Yidden all over, their identity is coming out. So that means that what's going on today has one identity which is on the surface, nature. The other identity is that it's a nes, and there's a deeper identity that it's Geula and part of Bias Mashiach. And this is what the Rebbe is telling us. And I think that this is supposed to be what we'll accomplish tonight and hopefully finish tonight, that to bring to our awareness and to awareness of everyone around us in the entire world, that the times we're living in now, this is, as the Rebbe said, the Geula is already ready, the table is all set, everything is here. If we'll begin to change our perspective and look at it differently and see that this is Inyan Geula, it'll take on that identity and it'll become that way. And therefore, when we hear the news and you hear something happening, you hear that there are Goyim that are accepting Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, you'll hear all the Nisim and the Flois, and what goes on here on Sunday, the Nisim that the Rebbe performs every Sunday with children, people who hadn't had children for many years and they have children, people in the not sick and they become well, the different stories that go on constantly, it's all part of the change that's taking place in the world, the inyanim of a nigla kveda vaya, that the Eibishter, Shechina and Getlakite will be revealed in the whole world. And therefore, and just to conclude that it's interesting to note, when the Rebbe spoke about Russia and said that it was an incredible miracle, the Rebbe said, what's the miracle? That there was such a massive change in the whole country and without war. So the Rebbe said, how did it take place, the change? The change wasn't through a war, but what changed was the minds of people that are in charge of the country, things changed in their mind, and then the whole country changed. In other words, what you see happening was their perspective changed, their ideas changed, and that made a major change in the Soviet Union, which made in turn a major change in the whole world. And that's the way it will be with us, that if we change our way of looking and our perspective, and we start seeing the Rebbe said Effen and the Eigen to begin to look at everything going on from a different way, then this will come out begolu, that the Inyan HaGeula and the Inyan of Mashiach will come out in an open way and identified completely with all the Inyan that go along with Geula, and we'll be able to make the bracha Shechiyanu, V'kimanu, V'giyanu, L'zman hazeh, take it from Yad Mamash.
Since Mashiach is imminently coming, and we are sure of it with our whole hearts and souls, but for that 1 second before he comes, there are two people I would like you to answer Amen for Refuah Shleima. Dvoraleya Bas Shulamis and Sarah Charna, and I don't know the mother's name. I would like to say it again. Dvoraleya Bas Shulamis and Sarah Charna. Please say Amen with your whole heart and soul. For Refuah Shleima Kreva this second now. To say that has been changed a little in this world of miracles, in this world of miracles of communication. And as you know, every bit of communication was only created for one thing, for Kedusha. We will soon be hearing, is it now? When I say the word now, it has a different meaning, doesn't it? Is it now? Ladies, Rav Kunin's hookup, is it now? It's ready. Rabbi Shlomo Kunin, it's not ready. Oh, up there. If you want an answer, you look up. I should wait. Okay. I would like to call to the microphone while we're waiting. From Australia, the Shliach of the Rebbe of Melbourne, Australia, Rabbi Yitzchak Groner. Ladies, we have something very, very special afterwards, and I would like you to please bear with us to the end. We may have surprises. Please, please bear with us till the end. Rabbi Yitzchak Groner.
You don't want to hear speeches, you heard enough. You all want Maaseh B'Poel. My dear friends, I want silence. This is a very, very important moment, and I want you to listen carefully to the few words that I have to say. I was only given 2 or 3 minutes to speak, and I'm very pleased that I could fill in certain places while someone else has to speak from Moscow. I have prepared a speech here, a few words. But I want to tell each and every woman here tonight, don't feel disappointed. Your work, which was done with an emes, will bear fruits. I don't want you should patch, as Rabbi Gutnick said, I'm not here to make Oislam and all patching. We have to do something bepoil. If the Rebbe comes or if the Rebbe doesn't come, this historic moment in the history of world Jewry, which was done with an amiti shel davar, I've heard that the people who organized it meant it with an emes. And MS breaks through. If it's not tonight, it'll be tomorrow. But this evening tonight, if we all go away, strengthened, hardened, and also, as the Rebbe wrote in the answer with a bepoil mamish, this will hasten Mashiach quickly. Don't be... We have to be careful. Don't go out disillusioned. Go out strengthened. Go out with the understanding that Am Yisrael Chai in Hine Ze Oimei Dacha Kosleinu, that there is yet a little bit, we don't know, the Rebbe says, a little bit to do. As I said, we have to strengthen ourselves. You give the encouragement to us. There has to be the strengthening, first of all, Beis Rabbeinu Shebebabel, that the place of oil, I wanted to speak about in the next week's Sedre Boy, it speaks about Yitzias Mitzrayim, the Geula, where it says, Ulechol b'nei Yisrael, hoya oil b'moy shveisam. In all Jewish homes, there was light, the light of Torah. My friends, the light that comes out from Beis Rabbeinu Shebebabel illuminated hundreds of thousands of homes. That in itself is Mashiach. That in itself is a salvation. Bringing back hundreds of thousands of Jewish children to the fold of Torah, the Yira, in Ahavas Yisrael and Achdus and Tznius. Isn't that the greatest Pa'ula of Mashiach? Oil! 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 But who am I, a humble individual, to come and say, as the Rebbe says, Musa Tolman and Zogen, I think that we have, the Rebbe writes in the answer, that the Iker is Meise. The answer came out tonight again? Tonight, I'm not going to read the whole answer. That Pa'ula is Zakois, V'ha'pa'ula hainu Meise Iker. The Meise is the Iker. The first thing is, your Meise today is a Iker. You did something monumental, something revolutionary, unheard of in the history of the Jewish people, that so many people should come together with their imamim, be'emunah shlema, be'vias HaMoshiach. Therefore, my friends, I want to tell you, ladies, I know you're murmuring, if the Rebbe doesn't come down, don't go away. I have to impart this point. You have accomplished great things. You have done great things, but there has to be Maaseh. We said today, Hu yigal yisonu b'kolev, v'kabeis v'dochenu mi'arab ha'kamfeis ha'oretz, chaverim kol Yisrael. We spoke about it, Rosh Chodesh, mentioned about the Inyan for Geula. When there's an Alta Vault, when is there the Geula? Chaverim kol Yisrael. Just like we all sit together tonight, in one unit, in one Achdus, this Achdus should permeate our homes. This is the oil shel Achdus which will bring the Hu yigal yisonu b'kolev, the Achdus zwischen Chsidim, the Achdus zwischen Klal Yisrael, that Ayich zal libhom, as you wrote in your theme, that means unconditional love, ahavas chinam, like Kabolas Ponim, someone told me. You know what Ponim means? Pnimius, emes, the essence, the innermost. We have to Kabolas Ponim. We have to receive the Ponim of Moshiach b'tan emes, that it should permeate not only tonight, but when we go out of these doors, there shall be the Chaverim called Yisrael, There should be the achdus that has to be done. The chabad in the world should show that we are ki'ish echad, b'leiv echad, as one unity under the Manik Yisrael, and that is who Yigal Yisrael. There has to be the question of tznius. Tznius called kvudo basbelach penimo. The concept of tznius, bashenkeit, which is also one of the fundamental factors. And my friends, I want to finish. I saw when we speak about oil, the oil shel Moshiach. You know what oil is? Someone said to me just now, sometimes when you have a very bright light, it affects your eyes. But a light, as it comes gradual and gradual and gradual, then you're able to accept it. The oil shel Moshiach is here. There's the beacon light of Moshiach. And I saw a medrash tonight on the idea of oil. Kumi oiri kiva oirech. Kumi oiri, come up your light. Kiva oirech, but your light came, because your light is here. And the medrash says that the oil is the oil shel Moshiach. And this is Vayar Alekim Ki Es Ha'or Ki Toiv. You know what the Medrash says? Moshiach is that individual, and there's a whole discussion, here's not the place, who gives a knack, the Malach HaMores, who gives a knack. There's certain, if we every act tonight, or gegeben dem größten Klapp zum Sotten, and therefore another beacon of light came apart. My friends, I know what we're going to say, I know what we want, and I therefore say, please let us all rise, stand up, and we'll say a prayer to the Rebbetzin Chana. The erste Sache ist, der Rebbetzin Chana soll geben Arichas Yomim Vishonim Toivim zum Remschlichte. And as we know that the Rebbetzin Chana should give the Hoirah to them Reben, that he should be Nisgale, and it should be the Korev Mavish, and all of us should say, Hu Yigal Yisonu B'Korev, V'Kabes Didochenu V'Arba Kamfes Ha'oretz, and it should be Chaverim Kol Yisrael, V'Noima Amen. Let us all implement this what the Rebbe does, and this night tonight will be active, will be contributive, productive to the Bias Moshiach, Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazek, and Am Yisrael Chai.
May the feeling that is in this room now be carried forth, La'arba Kanfes Ha'oretz, and may the world see the light, and may everything that Rabbi Yitzchak Groner said now come true immediately now. And if it doesn't, carry this feeling that you feel now. I'm shaking. Carry this feeling that you feel now out of this room to every corner, to every friend that you have, to every relative, and let it spread. We have tonight from Eretz Yisrael, louder, me? We have today from Eretz Yisrael, oh, we're ready? Oh, we're ready in more than one way. We have now from Russia, by the miracle of communication, Barav Reb Shlomo Kunin from Moscow.
Got together just as their great-great-grandmothers been to the land of Mitzrayim to slide must understand that each and every one of us is very inclusive. We have to leave our own boundaries. We have much as we think we have done till now. We have to do so much more in a very, very short period of time. But you must understand that no yet geteilt to the goyim, was bedeckt in der Egen, und heute steht der Rebbe eingezogen. Am Tag zu der Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi und lernt mit allen, die Jiden von der ganzen Welt, mit der ganzen Welt Teuro, und toll in unsere Fighting, noch am Mitzvah eingehabt, which will be the last Mitzvah done going, which will be the last honesty Torah that you have to do in going, which will be the last anointing for this, to shrine in the Pnimius Alev from the inner of our heart from Moshiach to Jacob. We saw here with these 50,000 Jews, when they stood on their feet and they dragged to the heavens with their voices. I would suggest at this point of the night, was Kaddish verheiligt gemacht. An der Nacht um der Ewigkeit unser Bundeshaus und der Ewigste soll auf dich Rachmundeshaus. Und nach Bundeshaus war Brüche Rabbeinu, that's the biggest of all the days. Where was there ever a Brüche Rabbeinu like this? And it's on the stone that got the key and to give a bracha that the Ewigste soll geben and the Rebbe soll sein gesund und dann Freiwach. Und alle seine Tories by here. The 12,000 Tories, which is the last thing of the Chana in this Kabolas HaMalchus. The whole Malachim, this time of the world, are fighting for the liberation of these Tories. And together I do not have the capability to hear your reactions back on the telephone. But I would suggest to each and every one of you to get up off your chairs and to stand with Shubach in the Eden, wo schreien zusammen, wissen, dass der Durchspalt in alle Himmel, wissen, der Durchspalt in der Land, mit mir und Gold in der Land, wo schreien zusammen, we want Moshiach now!
I am speechless now. We would like to invite back Hakein Horav Gutnik to give us Birchas Kehanim.
To be chal has to be said b'yahava. Will you all say with me together? Hareini mekabel olai mitzvah sasei של ואהבת לרעך כמוך. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל אהרון ואל בניו לאמור, כה תבורכו את בני ישראל, אומר להם, יברכך אדוני וישמרך. אמן. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה. אמן. יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. אמן. ושמו את שמי על בני ישראל ואני אבורכם.
Amen. Yashakeach Keim. We now have the honor to have with us from Eretz Yisrael the wife of the Rav of Kfar Chabad, Rebbetzin Chana. והשגחה פרוטיס בני חיים דו ich habe gedacht, sie reden im Kfar Chabad im Abend. יש נשים שלא דיברו את זה בכלל, יש דיברו 4 אנשים, דברי לי. הייתי אמורה לדבר בערב זה בכפר חב"ד באותו האירוע במסיבת מלווה מלכה זאת, ובהשגחה פרטית ברוך השם בגלל שמחה הגעתי לכאן. האדם מדבר מהרהורי ליבו. אני על ידי מה ששמענו בערב זה, כבר מהמחצית הראשונה של הערב, אין שום ספק שהרגשתי התעוררות רבה, ואני בטוחה שאני חולקת עם כל אחת ואחת מהיושבות כאן ברגשות אלו. עברו 9 חודשים, כבר הזכירו, מכ"ח בניסן. דיברנו, למדנו, שוחחנו, יצאנו לפעולות. אבל מה יצא מכל זה? אני זוכרת לפני 9 חודשים, כשערכנו כנס בכפר חב"ד, ואני הנחיתי וסיפרתי סיפור שהיה מהרב הרש"ב, שהרב הרש"ב צריך היה איזושהי גזרה קשה לבטל, גזרה על יהודים, ויצא עם עוד גדולי ישראל לכך, ולא הצליחו באותה משימה. ואמר מגדולי ישראל לרב הרש"ב, רבי, מה השברון לבד? הרי עשינו כל מה שיכולנו. והרבי ענה, עשינו, אבל את הפעולה לא ביצענו. לא השגנו מה שרצינו. עם כל העניין על לימודים ועל פעולות ולצאת לעולם, הכל מאחורי גבינו, עברו כבר 9 חודשים. הייתי אולי מרגישה ומנסה להגיד 9 ירחי לידה. עשינו המקסימום, במאמצים, במסירות נפש, עם כל כך הרבה רצון, עם כל כך הרבה מפנימיות, עם כל כך הרבה מעומק הלב. אבל משיח לא בא. גם הסעודה וגם הפועל ממש. אבל לצאת ולטפוח על השכם ולומר, אנחנו ירדנו את העולם ואנחנו הגענו לניוספייפר ואנחנו... אבל משיח לא בא. אם משיח לא בא, אם לא השגנו הערב הזה מה שרצינו,
גם לגמרי לא של ייאוש, ולגמרי לא של נמיכת רוח, ותמיד בהתרוממות לעשות ולפעול. אבל אנחנו רוצים את משיח בפועל ממש, אנחנו לא רוצים רק לדעת שמשיח פה, אנחנו כבר גם פתחנו את העיניים, גם את זה הרב ביקש. ואולי חסר דבר אחד, אני לא מדברת נשים יקרות, חברות יקרות, אחיות יקרות, אני לא מדברת על אף אחת, אני מדברת עליי, אני אדם מדבר מהרהורי ליבו. אולי חסרה נקודה אחת ויחידה, שעליה הרב מדבר הרבה פעמים, אבל היא נקודה הכי קשה, שאולי אותה במיוחד קשה לנו לקבל. לצאת לדבר עם הרחוב זה מאוד קשה, אבל זה יותר קל מה שלדבר על עצמי. הרב מדבר שמתאין קר, עם מחשבה אחת, עם רצון אחד, יכול יהודי להגיע מדרגה של רשע גמור לדרגה של צדיק גמור. אם משיח לא בא, אולי משהו אצל כל אחת ואחת מאיתנו עוד לא קשור. אולי כל אחד ברגע כזה של התעוררות, ברגע כזה של תקווה, ברגע כזה של ציפייה, ציפית למשיח. על זה אנחנו עתידים לתת את הדין, האם ציפינו למשיח? ציפינו. בכל הלב, בכל הנפש, רצינו. 2000 שנה מצפים, 2000 שנה מבקשים. והרב שליט"א מבטיח, זה הדור, וזה הרגע, וזו השעה. וכל כך הרבה פעמים שמענו היום את הממש, הוא נקוויסטי ממש. הוא פה. מה הוא פה? הוא פה. אנחנו מצפים לו בכל דור ודור משיח קיים. גם בדור הקודם היה משיח. הדור היה צריך להיות ראוי שמשיח יתגלה. משיח היה, תמיד היה משיח. מאז גואל ראשון ועד גואל אחרון, בכל דור היה משיח. אבל הדור צריך להיות ראוי שמשיח יתגלה. זה מה שאנחנו רוצים. אנחנו רוצים לדעת שהוא פה, אנחנו יודעים שהוא פה. מרווי סינדוס. אולי צריכים עוד איזה נקודה מעומק הלב, עוד איזה הרהור, עוד איזה כוונה טובה. הוא יודע, אם יש בנפש שכל אחד יודע בדיוק בוודאי מה. אם אנחנו מבקשים שובו השם ועד מוצאי, אולי נגיד יחד את הפרק, פרק צדיק. זה פרק שכתוב עליו במיוחד, זה פרק של תשובה, וזה הפרק של המנהיגות של התקופה הזו. אולי נגיד ביחד את הפרק, וכל אחד יבקש מעומק הלב, כשיגיע הרגע ושתגיע השעה ושנוכל בעיני בשר למטה מ10 טפחים לקבל משיח נאו. תפילה למשה, איש האלוהים, אדוני, מעון אתה היית לנו בדור ודור, בטרם הרים יולדו ותחולל ארץ ותבל, ומעולם עד עולם אתה אל. תשב אנוש עד דקה ותאמר שובו בני אדם, כי 1000 שנים בעיניך כיום אתמול כי יעבור, והשמורה בלילה זרמתם שינה יהיו, בבוקר כחציר יחלוף, בבוקר יציץ וחלף, לערב ימולל ויבש, כי חלינו באפיך ובחמתך נבהלנו, שתה עוונותינו לנגדך, עלומנו למאור פניך, כי כל ימינו פנו בעברתך, עבדיך, כילינו שנינו כמו הגה, ימי שנותינו בהם 70 שנה, ואם בגבורות 80 שנה, ורובם עמל ואבן, כי גז חיש ונעופה, מי יודע עוז אפיך וחירתך עברתך, למנות ימינו כן הודע, ונביא לבב חוכמה. שובה אדוני עד מוסי וילחם על עבדיך, שבענו בבוקר חסדך, ונרננה ונשמחה בכל ימינו, שמחנו כי מותי ניתנו, שנות ראינו רעה, יראה אל עבדיך פועליך, והדרך על בניהם, ויהי נועם אדוני אלוהינו עלינו, ומעשה ידינו כוננו עלינו, ומעשה ידינו כוננו. יחי אדוננו מורנו ורבנו מלך המשיח לעולם ועד. יחי אדוננו מורנו ורבנו מלך המשיח לעולם ועד. יחי אדוננו מורנו ורבנו מלך המשיח לעולם ועד. אמן. כן יהי רצון ממש now.
The fact of my first name has nothing to do with my holding the Tov. One of the women gave this to me as a sign that we are really ready. I was given many notes at the beginning of this evening to make announcements for Mifzoim and for evenings, and I was really truly positive that I wouldn't read them. But it's not a disappointment. I thought that what Rabbi Groner said was absolutely the most uplifting thing. This is not a disappointment. What we have done tonight, as we have brought it down almost lamato mi'asarot tfachim down here, I don't think anybody will walk out of this room tonight the same person. Some of you will be very tired from standing, but none of us will walk out the same person. Baruch Nias. Before I finish, I'd like to make just a few announcements. I hope you don't have to do this, but there are Miftzayim on Chof Bei Shvat, and if we have to do it, and that will bring the Geula closer to Chof Beis in the evening or Chof Gimel in the morning, please join. Monday evening, Lemisporom, January 6th, the first Yortzeit of Eti Shagalov at Lubavitcher Yeshiva on Albany Avenue. Please come. I did not prepare an ending speech. I really didn't. But since I'm here, I feel I have to end with something. I've told the story many times, but I think it fits. Before I tell you the story, I'm going to tell you the reactions of my students that I didn't finish before when I told them about this Mlava Malkia. This is in a Beis Yaakov school, my friends, not in a Beis Rivka school. In every class they said, Mora, what a wonderful idea. Why didn't you think of it before? And in another class, one of the girls said, why are you keeping it to yourselves? Why haven't you invited the world? We have. The Geula Harishena was done by Aaron and Moshe. The Geula Hashnia was by Esther and Mordechai. The Geula HaMitis Vashlema will be by Eliyahu and Moshiach. Aaron and Moshe, Aleph Mem, Ein. Esther and Mordechai, Aleph Mem, Ein. Eliyahu and Moshiach, Aleph Mem, Ein. Because, my sisters, it is up to us. We are the Gilgulim, and we will do it. If we didn't do it at 1:45, we can do it at 10:1. Please walk out of this room in a positive sense. We have not failed, we have built. This was not an evening of testing, this was a statement. I think that this was a small step for women and a large step for mankind. Please remember to bench, to put out the candles, and to carry the fire through La'arba Kanfei Sa'aretz until we see you very soon in the same place with Melech HaMashiach. Thank you very much. Bench or Bracha Achrena on the Bracha Achrena or benching? Bracha Achrena to Golas, please bench. End this well. Tuesday night, if nothing happens till then, the Shir and Gulas and Mashiach in 770. We need people on the line tomorrow morning from Mitzrayim. Please translate this Sederos into Avedo. Please, whoever can, come to Mitzrayim tomorrow morning. Seid gesund.